would go and I would coach all these women on their pitches. And I brought my perspective and met amazing people. And I had a large chip on my shoulder because I'm an artist. These are money-grubbing, horrible business people. So I chipped away at the chip on my shoulder and I fell in love with business people. I realized that the big difference between the art world and the business world is we both are passionate and driven, right? But business people track and measure. All artists would benefit from tracking and measuring their business because we have to run as artists our business.
Hilary, it's great to have you here,
Yes.
LeaderPass Studios and with the team, and had an awesome film day with you on, I guess, 2 days ago.
It was awesome.
And
Yes.
then you met with clients yesterday and then again
Yeah.
today, and you're back. So we get to do this fun part and
Yes.
get to process a lot of what you talked about as well. So
Yeah.
thanks for being here.
Oh, love it.
It was fun meeting you through our mutual friend, Jeff Savilico.
Jeff Savilico,
Yeah.
awesome dude,
Yeah,
who just promotes other people. He's just all about
he does.
promoting other people,
He
which
does.
is a beautiful spirit.
Yeah. And there's a belief there that I think you shared. I heard y'all talking about while we were in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And talking about how you actually uplift other, even other speakers and people that are in your industry, which I thought was just,
Yes.
it's a rare thing, because you get competitive, and people.
No. And I do. I think competition, there's an element of competition, right, that ups our game. There is that element. We can be competitive and still supportive. I think we live with
That's
both
cool.
of those together, right? Is
Yeah.
like, how do we support each other and support our businesses? The competition helps us keep getting better and better,
Yeah.
right? How do I keep upping my game is super important. How do I support you to be successful helps me to be successful, helps the world, because we all have cool messages, I think.
For sure.
For the world.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
unique. I mean, unique to
Yeah.
your experiences. And I'd love to start with that and talk
Yeah.
about kind of your background, how you
Yeah.
got into what you're doing, which is fascinating. So why don't you take us to the beginnings
Yeah.
of your career?
The main thing is that I started in the theater, right? So I was the little kid who found solace and healing and all the things by doing theater as a little kid, right? And the theater I was part of, they wrapped in being a teacher with it. That was part of it.
Okay.
So you just immediately, as you got a little bit older, you started teaching, and that was assumed a great way to be learning what you're doing.
Hmm.
And I gravitated towards specifically the voice work. I loved, there was a really wonderful voice person and some of the improv, along with the other elements, and I just kept moving through it. So I became basically a drama teacher, right? And I wanted to be an actor, so I went on, I went to New York, and then I really recognized that things are about connections, so I applied to grad school, got into grad school, graduated with a master's degree in acting, which I always joke is the sure way to make your parents feel secure, right? That MFA in acting.
Yes.
So I had gone, undergrad, I had studied psychology and specifically child psychology, so I thought, drama therapy even, right? Combining those two together, because I've always loved teaching. So years and years of teaching, graduated with an MFA in acting. I was in a children's show, a fabulous 3-hander, 3 characters called Tomato Plant Girl. So it has Tomato Plant Girl, Bossy Best Friend, and Little Girl.
Okay.
And I was Tomato Plant Girl.
Nice.
And so character, right? Title character, title role.
Yeah.
So at the end of the show, I'm shaking little hands because you do that. You wait in the lobby and you meet people.
Yep.
And this adult comes by and she says, this voice asks, do you work with business people? And I'm a tomato at this point, right? I'm a tomato.
Oh,
I
you're wearing the
grew and I'm now at the end of the show, I'm a giant tomato. So I'm thinking, I'm a tomato. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Yeah.
Out loud, I said some. And she tucked her card into my costume and she said, call me when you've worked with more. I was like,
Really?
yeah. So I went back to the theater because I was working in the education department at the theater. And when you meet a visionary, things happen, right? So people started calling and they say, do you work with business people? Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Took you one time, probably.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, yes, I do.
Yep.
So I started working with people and learned some things quickly. I wouldn't take you anymore and lay you on the floor to have you work on your breathing. I learned that business people aren't thrilled with that, right?
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So I changed the order of how I worked on things. 6 months later, I called her. I said, I've been working with business people. She said, come to New York. I want you. What I heard was audition for me. I don't know what she said, but
Yeah.
I heard it as an audition. Flew to New York, and she had a program called Count Me In for Women's Economic Independence. And the competition was Make Mine $1 Million Business. She saw a tomato and thought, you should coach business people.
Really?
Because she saw like how I connected even with the little kids. the tools, the connection, the voice, the body, all the storytelling.
Yeah. Yep.
So I auditioned as a pitch coach and a voice coach. I got the gig.
And that was for her organization, or was that
Yeah,
for
for all these competitions. So I zipped
oh,
across the
wow.
country going to all these Make Mine $1 Million business pitch competitions.
No way.
And I would go and I would coach all these women on their pitches. There were other coaches there as well. I wasn't the only one. And I brought my perspective and met amazing people. And I had a large chip on my shoulder because I'm an artist. These are money grubbing, horrible business people.
Right, right.
Oh, so I chipped away at the chip on my shoulder and I fell in love with business people.
Wow.
And I realized that the big difference between the art world and the business world is really, well, we both are passionate and driven, right? But business people track and measure.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's the only difference,
Hmm.
right? It's like, okay, and that would be all artists would benefit from tracking and measuring their business because we have to run as artists our business. So for me, it totally changed the trajectory of my life. So that's the first part that moved me into articulate, real and clear. I really have loved working with business people, opened up a whole world, got all kinds of connections through that, and then it snowballed.
Yeah.
And then one of the clients I was working with just a number of years ago, not that long ago, brought me in because he had two great teams, but they were having some rub, right? And they could be better. It was an AI consultancy. And he brought me in and he said, I need them to figure out how to work together and how to communicate. So it was the project managers and the salespeople. And so I came in and I did my workshop. I did a lot of improv, a lot of the communication tools I have, and work, work, work. And at the end, one of the guys turned to me and he said with a face and a tone, I thought you were going to have us get along. And instead, you got us comfortable with friction.
Hmm.
And I went, that's the language. That's what I'm doing. When I coach people on their communication, when I work with teams on their executive presence, what I'm really working with them on is how to stay in relationship, how to stay in conversation. So getting comfortable with friction has become fruitful friction, how to stay in conversation out of conflict.
Love that.
There's a
Yeah.
whole land of opportunity, and it pulls together all of the tools that I've been working on for so long, and the woman's belief in what I was doing and getting me to the place where I am with the business. I love mentioning, I'm name dropping now, that the woman who saw me, we know as the woman who co-founded Take Our Daughters to Work Day. Her
Nice.
name is
Okay.
Nell Merlino. She changed the course of my life. So now with Fruitful Friction, bringing to the world the artist's perspective on how to communicate
That's
and
incredible.
change
That's awesome.
conversations.
So it's
That's me.
not so the whole premise isn't necessarily just how to be persuasive in your communication. It's how to understand that there's a difference here and to
Yeah,
still hang in there or
great
what? Yeah.
question. It is a shifting of sort of a mindset, right? That I know that word gets tossed around all, but it is. The mindset is that often we're either getting along fine or we're in conflict.
Hmm.
It feels like we have two camps. And this construct is based on the fact that friction, that rub creates pearls or dust.
Hmm.
So if we come together and reframe the concept that friction is a really great energy, right? That we can then have it be productive, we can have innovation come from it. A lot of it also comes from me as a theater person. We have what we call table work before a show. And so you would have people with all the different perspectives coming in. You have the designers, you have the either the script writer, where they are in it, you have lighting, movement, all the different people who have to produce and put
Different
something
roles.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the different roles they have coming together, and there's friction. There's like, what do we think? What's going to happen? And the concept is, I want your best ideas. How are we going to make that work to put the best show on? Somehow, corporate America, and I think somewhat in our personal lives, we have lost we've lost the ability to be in conversation. I'm laughing because I had a client say to me, I haven't lost anything. I don't think I had the skills to begin with. So that concept of how do we stay in conversation, rocking our awkward, that's one of our big tools, is owning your awkward, and understanding that friction creates traction. Traction keeps us on the road and moves us forward.
Hmm.
We need to smooth some things over, but not everything. And if we can start recognizing that if you and I are in a meeting together and we are trying to innovate or move our team forward, and you're hired because of your certain talents and I'm hired because of mine, and we have our different perspectives, if we just keep going, oh, yeah, everything's okay, fine. We keep smoothing things over. Why did we even hire us?
Mhm.
Why do we even want those differences in the room?
Yeah.
So, in empowering people, enabling people to show up between what we say, avoid an attack, in the messy middle, to stay in relationship, in conversation,
And be able
that's
to do that.
where all the good is.
I
All the
think about when you said
yeah,
improv. So I think
yeah,
about just simple lessons of like yes and or
yeah,
being agreeable, and that keeps the conversation going. There's a difference between just agreeing and
yeah,
being agreeable, and then you said innovating, or you said
yeah,
it produces something when there's that friction. So how
yeah.
is that something that obviously they need to be able to communicate, but is
Yes.
that what's happening as that friction's there, or do you just say, hey, look, this is going to happen, but expect a different outcome versus just
I have
go where
so
everybody.
many thoughts that are
Okay.
yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
right? Yes.
Yeah.
So that idea of we're going to have that friction. We want to invite the friction. It's there. We're either avoiding it often, or we're kind of zinging people,
Mhm.
or we're staying in the middle. The thing is, we're all wired differently. So some of us, we even have an assessment about what fruit are you, right? Are you a banana? Are you a peach? Are you an apple? Are you a mango? Are you a coconut, right? Because you have different levels of ability to not be bruised,
Yep.
right? And we
Yep.
need fruit salad for sure. And it always depends. It depends on the relationship, depends on, honestly, it can depend on what time of day you're having the meeting.
Mm.
It can depend whether it's Friday, right? Or if it's Monday. It can depend on so many things. So that depends. Sometimes I feel like I'm an apple or a peach. Sometimes I'm like I'm a coconut. Sometimes I'm a total banana. So understanding that we come at it wired differently depending on the relationship. And then you mentioned something because I'm a theater person. I will mention the yes and, right? We have
Yep.
a lot of tossing out the yes and.
Mhm.
It's a really fabulous tool that in my world is often misinterpreted because yes and is about acknowledgement, not necessarily agreement.
100% agree.
If
100%. When
right,
I hear
right,
people say
exactly.
that, when I hear people say
Totally.
yes, and I'm like, well, you just disagree with what I was thinking you're
Yes.
saying.
So the acknowledgement is
Yeah.
what's key.
Yeah.
And you have to be
Funny.
careful not to like,
That's
I hear
funny.
what you're saying, but yeah. So what you said there, yes, and we can't do that.
Yeah.
So the acknowledgement, you as a human being, we as human beings need to be heard. Acknowledging that I heard you, you acknowledging you heard me, we can stay in conversation. The shorthand is no. The shorthand is wait a minute. We interrupt, we jump on it because we're like, yeah, I have this different idea.
Yeah.
And it can set off a chemical reaction in you because
Mhm.
we are just a chemical reaction waiting to
Mhm.
happen. Well, we're already happening, right? And different things spike. So if we're not aware of how we respond, we can set off your like cortisol or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
happens. And then we can't even, it takes a while for that to come down. So,
Yeah.
how do I be aware of what can just have you feel heard? Then we can still talk about it, even if we don't agree, even if all I'm doing is acknowledging and we're going different
Okay.
directions.
So it's understanding that that doesn't have to be complete alignment on the idea.
No.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, wait a minute, where are you? What's happening? And there are always things like we can agree to disagree, is actually for me, it depends how it's said, it can
Mhm.
be an avoidance.
Mm.
It doesn't have to be like we agree to disagree. It depends on the tone of voice I use.
Yep.
We can agree to disagree. Let's move with your idea. We can agree to disagree. Let's move with my idea. Or it can be like, we can agree to disagree, which is actually just zinging you, right? If I have
Mhm.
a little spin on my voice,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, we can agree to disagree. We're
Yeah.
going with my idea, right? Or
Yep.
whatever it
Yep.
is. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fascinating. So what do you see like in today's
Yeah.
culture, and you're in and out of these organizations
Yes.
and deal with some pretty big egos, I would imagine.
Yeah.
With what we just did a few days
Yeah.
ago in this new training system
Yep.
that you've got, which is what I want to call it. I'm going to call it a course. I'm going to call it a
Yeah.
system, the way you've defined this. Is and you separate it into acts, which I
Right.
like.
Yeah.
And we did act one and act
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
What is a key ingredient of that? Like, let's talk about what that is
Yep.
so that if people are watching this, they'll understand what the value is, but also see if it's appealing
Yeah.
to what you do and what they need.
The key ingredient first is that friction exists
Mm.
separate from conflict. That's the first concept. We have been equating, conflating friction and conflict for a long time,
Hmm.
right? And so recognizing that friction is inevitable, conflict isn't.
Hmm.
So that the key concept is that. And then I'm going to suggest that it's rocking the awkward, owning the awkward, to be in relationship, to stay in the messy middle between those two walls, which we have a whole visual of it being a garden, right? That's where we get in the dirt. That's where the great things can grow. That's where it's fruitful. That's where it's fertile. All of that is that's what we want to have happen. And in order to do that, it can get a little messy. So we call it the messy middle.
Okay.
And if I keep thinking that I should be feeling comfortable all the time, I've misunderstood what it means to be in conversation.
Hmm.
There are lots of places to be comfortable, right? At home, going hiking, whatever. Like right now, I'm not comfortable right now. I am confident and I'm competent. But
Mhm.
what's comfortable? I'm in a chair, it's swirling, there's a microphone, you're there. We want to have
Yep.
the right things. I want to make sure I'm sharing things that are important. I'm not, I'm rocking my awkward,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So allowing awkward to coexist with confidence.
Hmm.
That's a big thing for it.
Yeah.
And then the idea of how do I show up as a member of a team and as a leader? What do I need to do to recognize that I'm creating a space that you can stay present with me in conversation?
Mhm.
What's happening with all my communication elements? And the other thing that, and today I was thinking about this, I was working with a group. We do tend to go, conflict resolution is awesome. Those programs are awesome. I don't begrudge them anything. I just have this idea that there's also this possibility to not have to get all the way there.
Right.
And what can happen is that a lot of those programs are dealing with a specific situation. They're well designed, they help you deal with conflict or hard conversations, that kind of thing. And they have a very proactive, and they're reactive, proactive in a good way.
Yeah.
We're suggesting that fruitful friction is preactive. It isn't a word, but we're claiming it, right?
Reactive. Okay.
So
What's
preactive in
reactive?
that we
Yeah.
want to give you the tools to equip you to stay in conversation in a number of settings. It's not incident specific.
Mm.
It's your self-awareness to showing up. How do you show up and communicate? What can I keep working on to be more equipped to show up and be in the conversation?
Hmm.
It is the softest of soft skills
Hmm.
because it's squishy and hard to define, right? And I love the term soft skills. I love the term soft because we tend to think hard's better. Why? Soft
Mhm.
is awesome.
Mhm.
Soft is awesome for trees and for moving energy and for marshmallows and pillows. And there are lots of great things that are soft. So if soft is important, and how do we maneuver instead of thinking there has to be a set formula? How do we understand how to navigate the skills to show up with all the depends, right?
Mhm.
It depends on
Mhm.
this and depends on this. How do I connect with you? How do I check in to make sure I'm connecting with you? How do I keep moving through that? I have so many people who block people with just tone of voice.
Wow.
And they're like, wow, I didn't even think about that, right? They want to get something done. Well-intentioned leaders. These aren't people who are trying to be jerks, for
But they're
lack of
shutting
a
people
better word.
down without knowing it. Yeah.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
trying. They really want to, they just don't have, they want to connect. They just don't necessarily have the tools. So we're just equipping people with more tools and also activating the tools they have. So we're big on the fact that you already have a ton of tools. You've been, look at you, right, Jimmy? You've been communicating for a long time. I'm not going to tell you to replace what you're doing. I'm going to say bring all those in and let's figure out how they work for this situation.
That's very cool. And so let's talk about how that would
Yep.
look for an organization.
Yep.
Would they bring you in or your team in
Yeah.
live or Zoom and
What
work with you in the beginning or,
What's great about, I'm going to say that what I love about LeaderPass now is it's
Mhm.
enabling us to share it a multitude of ways, right?
Okay.
So we now have Act One, right? So we have a way of having people go to LeaderPass to go through the content asynchronously and then meet with us synchronously. Either Zoom, so virtual works, because there are a
Mhm.
lot of people who have to do that. We'll have a cohort, or we can meet in person for sure.
Mhm.
So you can be a mix of people and come through it and learn about it and meet people and meet a cohort. We can also be brought into a company,
Okay.
right? And
Yeah.
have that set. Then we have the next level, which is to get certified in it. So how do I learn that next level, Act Two and Act Three? So Act Two and Three are about how do I learn more about how to bring it in, how to share it. I'm big into facilitating. So how do
Yeah.
I facilitate those skills? And again, it activates what coaches and HR
Right.
professionals and people already have, trainers,
Yep.
they already have. We're giving them another tool. We're not asking them to replace anything. We're asking them, it's more of a construct
Mhm.
that holds their brilliance that they already have and helps activate it in a hopefully helpful way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that means that we can have people who just want to get Act One. I just want the skills for myself, either on my own or in the company, or they can get certified in it, which we're loving doing. And then we will have a train the trainer as well.
Mhm.
So the train the trainer is that next level in Act Four.
So even the certification, the way
Yeah,
you're doing it can be an internal team member
yes,
that can become certified in this to help
absolutely.
run. It doesn't have to be necessarily an outside coach or an
No.
outside
Very good point.
facilitator.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot
So
of
it's
companies
both.
like, I want to train one of my HR people or
Yeah.
something like that to be
Yeah.
able to share the
Yeah.
information.
And you feel like
Yeah.
this is, even though not everybody's from the acting world, you
Yes.
feel like this is something people can understand, grasp, and apply, I would imagine.
That's what I'm loving about it. I am loving the fact that it is. People are finding it a construct that they can move into from all their different angles.
Mm.
Because honestly, prior to that, I was doing a lot of executive presence, public speaking, pitch coaching. I got into pitch coaching,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Presentations. And those leaned heavily into my background as a theater teacher and the communication and all of that. Granted, the executive presence and communication skills are fueling fruitful friction,
Okay.
of course, because that's my background.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
I'm coming
Yeah.
from. And what I have been finding, and I love, people are so excited about it. They're like, I can totally do this. They're feeling like they can do it because they get it's the messy middle. How do I show up? What are the little things that I can adjust? What can I be self-aware of? Because
Right.
self-awareness is a tool and a construct, right? It's
Hmm.
a frame of mind. How can I be aware of those things and step into it? It's challenging. It's asking people to really look at themselves
Yeah.
and own stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is go, wow, okay, I have to stop worrying about fixing you and go, what's my part in that?
Hmm. Hmm.
And from the all the workshops I've been doing on it, I am super excited, right? Yeah. Today I just had a guy who was like, this is great. He goes, this is super helpful. I'm finding this to be something I can hang on to. And the garden image,
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of was worried, my touchy-feely self.
Hmm.
And I have people going, I love that image
Yeah.
because there's manure in there and there's fertilizer and there's
The
some stuff
bugs, there's
rotting, bugs,
worms. Yeah. Yeah.
bugs
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
worms and
Yeah.
things rotting,
Yeah.
and still things grow.
Yeah.
It's not clean and pristine,
Hmm.
right? It's not some slick thing. It
Yeah.
isn't. It's like very organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Setting that expectation, I think, is so important for teams, organizations to know it's okay to
Yeah.
have your be different. And it's also okay to have friction. Doesn't mean conflict. I
Yep.
love the premise of that. And when you're in an environment where you're facilitating,
Yeah.
are there any moments where you can think of where it's like it just wasn't getting through and there's conflict naturally arose? And is that part of what you're doing in the beginning to go, hey, here's the deal, here are the team rules, or how do you do
Yes.
that? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes. You get me excited about everything.
Mm.
So, yes. So, I always think back to the most recent situation today, right? So, one of the tools that we offer is a group culture, which is a very
Group
common,
culture. Okay. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
creating group culture, rules of engagement, whatever, how you're going to play, rules of play.
Mhm.
And it's a common tool. We suggest that you make sure you're doing it, even if it's super short. And one of the cool things about group culture is it's created by the people in it. So it's not like I come in and say, here's what we're going to do. This is what we have to. We have to have respect. We have to da da da. No, we're like, what do you all need in order for this to work?
Yeah.
Because they do that, we hit on what the group needs and more buy-in, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
by default, right? So I've been using that for decades, and I was taught that years ago. And so that sense of where they are, and then we're always going to have here's the rub, right? We're going to have here's the rub for
Mhm.
sure. And that the friction going to create
The
pearls
pearl or the sand. Yeah.
or
Or the
dust,
dust.
or
Yep.
the dust is dust conflict,
Yep.
right? And so today we were talking about the friction being creative and conflict being destructive.
Mm.
And there will always be, as I'm coaching people, friction,
Mhm.
because I'm asking people to look at themselves and be more of themselves. I don't think. I really try not to change people. I really try to say, that's your style. How do we make you more you? We're degunking people, getting them out of their own way.
Yep.
If someone has an edge, how do we have you have an edge that still invites people to be in conversation with you?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
is that there because you felt misunderstood, or do you have an edgy personality? And those are two different things.
Yeah.
They show up differently.
Yeah.
So today we definitely, like, even in the room, like, oh, we're getting a little friction, right? And I'm like, yes, bring it on. What's the thing? So as the person facilitating it, we have to model leaning into and inviting the friction.
Hmm.
We have to be really well trained, right? And open to That's what it's all about. Not stepping away, not stepping behind the avoid or the attack, being in it with them.
Yeah.
How can I invite that discussion?
Yeah. I love that. I love that.
It's awkward.
It's awkward, but it's the messy middle. It's the messy middle.
Yes,
That's
yes.
great. So, we deal with a lot of people who have written great books, and you've got lots of courses out there and lots of asynchronous learning
Yeah,
moments. What makes this different? The way that
yeah.
y'all are approaching this so I want you to talk about the difference there.
The power is in the coaching. The power is in me coming in, seeing who you are, and adjusting little things so you can be more of yourself within the construct of fruitful friction and how to stay in the conversation, how to be present with each other. And I love learning the tools, and we have the videos. And what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love about the LeaderPass platform is that we get everybody to go through not all the content, but a lot of the content. We'll just
Mhm.
keep adding to it because we love it. We'll
Yeah,
just
yeah.
keep adding more to it. And then you come, having learned that at your own speed, your own time, then we come and you get to ask questions. And the really important is the activation, right?
Okay. Yep.
The activation with me or with other coaches. And if you get certified, activating in the moment to figure out how can I help you see this and be more of yourself, move this out of the way, degunk,
Hmm.
offer this up. Hey, I don't even know if you realize that the tone of voice, try this, and giving you immediate in the moment feedback. So the synchronous in the moment work is partnered with the asynchronous, the behind the scenes on your own time learning.
Yep.
They go together really well. And, I don't mean to promote LeaderPass. I love LeaderPass.
You can keep
LeaderPass
promoting
does
all you
that.
want.
Yeah.
No.
So LeaderPass has given us the opportunity to share that, offer it up in a way that is far more seamless and easier to move through, and we can add things and we can keep moving things around. It's super exciting to me because I feel like we are delivering better training,
Mhm.
coaching, whatever you want to call what we're doing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because of that.
On that note, I
Yeah,
think about people who have something inside. They've
yeah,
got experiences maybe completely different than your tomato,
yeah,
career,
yeah, 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 yeah,
which
yeah,
was the launch of your
yeah.
career.
Yes,
And so they probably would benefit from a few things that you've learned as a creator who's taken this
yeah,
experience and is now putting it together for others to benefit from. So,
yes,
is there any kind of lesson, or I would say, especially people who may be a speaker and may have a keynote, and how do
yeah,
they turn that into literally your IP, which is what we're talking about
right.
right now?
the, the first thing I would say is get a group together, get lots of feedback, get a beta group together, get a group of trusted people to hear that translation of the content from a talk into how
Mhm.
you're training it, and be open to the feedback, which is part of what Fruitful Friction is about,
Yeah.
right? So be really open to what is that? How does that move? What's happening there? Tell me why. So get a group and put it out there and iterate. You have
Hmm.
to iterate,
Hmm.
and putting on a platform where people can try it on. Our first iteration was pretty rough. Like we were pulling things where I'd done podcasts and talks and all that. We're pulling stuff together, some scratch videos.
Hmm.
Try it, put it out there. Don't be uh, stuck or slowed down by it having to be perfect. Put it
Right.
out there and let it move and grow. I already iterate. I did a workshop yesterday. I changed things last night in my hotel room
Did you
and
really?
I did it differently today.
So
Yep.
iterate. I
And I
love that. Yeah.
changed one of the slides. I changed the language on it. Yeah. I'm always changing things to be
And is that
clearer.
because you get a question about it from someone, or are
Yeah.
you just getting the feel that, hey, this isn't landing the way I want to land?
Yep, both of those.
Both. Okay.
Absolutely. I get very direct feedback.
Yeah.
And partly because I invite it and I like it. I go, "Yes, tell me more. What is that?"
Hmm.
I I live into the concept of how can I learn from that? Don't be. I mean, I of course I'm a human being. I get defensive too.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing is that I have been practiced at finding the gifts. Nah, that's that cliche thing. I don't mean that all feedback is gifts. I don't mean that.
Hmm.
What? Because that can be like annoying.
Hmm.
But getting feedback and really sifting through it and saying, okay, that is important for me to shift, or oh, that's really specific to Jamie. I don't need to shift everything. That's Jamie's perspective. Oh, that
Gotcha.
other
Yeah.
thing. Oh, that would help other people.
Nice. So
Yeah.
you iterate with that. With that, one
Yeah.
of the things you're talking about too, or we're looking at, is how to take a speaking engagement
Yes.
where you're in front of a group of people, and how to leverage and use
Yes.
Fruitful Friction or the other programs you have. You have
Yeah.
a few others that you're
Yes.
migrating over to LeaderPass right
Yes.
now. That can be something that's bundled either with your speaking or a leave behind to stay engaged. I see a
Yes.
lot of speakers end up thinking about that one talk, and they're on the stage or they're in front of the group or doing the workshop, and then it's over.
And Yeah, and what's interesting about that is like some of it's gone and then some of us give too much that
Mhm,
then isn't helpful.
mhm.
So we have some like, you get a QR code and then you go to all this stuff, right? And you're like, wait a minute. What I'm excited about is they can land what I call the articulate castle, or maybe like,
That's right, castle, that was
yeah,
your
like,
word.
no,
Yeah, I
I've
love
been
that.
joking like
I
that,
love that.
or it's like a little ski town with all kinds of things going on. I
Yeah,
live, I live in Colorado, so I have that idea. But the concept of coming to articulate where we have lots of offerings,
yeah,
and I give you enough that you feel like you're getting fed more and you can decide if you want more.
yeah.
Sometimes as a teacher, right, and I love the word teacher. I'm a teacher and a trainer and a coach and a
Mhm.
speaker and all that. I feel like I kind of I just too much information on you,
Mm,
right? I'm just like, and you're like, oh, 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 oh. I feel like LeaderPass allows it to land, and then you can see other things. Oh,
mhm.
I'm obsessed with the speaking voice. I've taught the speaking voice forever. So we have a course on speaking voice that now with the Articulate Castle, you can see, oh, there's that. That's another little element of like, so, another little place that you can go
Yeah.
and hang out and learn that. So we have the different courses and you see all of that.
Which lets them kind of pick, it's almost like a toolbox, more of a
Yeah,
toolbox.
that's a good idea.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you get to pick and choose what they need in that moment from your
Yes, instead of
castle and
just
from
like
your. Yeah, yeah.
dumping it, like dump truck, poof, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, what do I need then? And they can come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can always come back and get it when they want. Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, where did I put that QR code? What did they send me?
Yeah.
So it's exciting that it lives there.
Yeah.
Feels way like I'm serving people so much better.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I think you have so much to offer, and it's been fun to watch both your personality, your energy that you bring into
I
the
get
room,
so excited.
and the knowledge is I can see how that's contagious. And then once organizations are digesting this and getting into your castle here,
Yeah.
which is taking shape already, we've
Yes.
watched some great things start happening.
Super
Can't
great.
wait for people to see your new training program. I mean, this is when it comes out, it looks fantastic. You did a super job delivering it. You do it
Thank
in
you.
micro lessons, which is so important right now because people aren't going to be overwhelmed. They can,
Yeah.
it's digestible,
Little
but
bites.
yeah,
Little
well,
tapas. Sometimes we talk about tapas.
top, there you go. There you go. I
Tapas,
like that.
yes,
I
yeah.
like it.
And we'll keep adding because there's so much to share. And
Yeah.
now that we have this castle,
Yeah, the castle. Yeah.
we'll keep get the architect and keep building on our castle. So it'll
That's
be really
awesome. No,
fun.
I love it. And so before we leave, let's
Yeah.
talk about where people can engage with you. Like, where would you suggest is the first place for them to go to connect?
Other than LeaderPass, right?
Yes.
Other than
Yes. Yeah.
LeaderPass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a website, right? So articulaterc.com. And the RC stands for real and clear. So
Okay.
articulaterc.com. I also love connecting with people on LinkedIn.
Do
So
you?
I,
Okay.
I
I was
I
wondering if
love
that's,
LinkedIn.
yeah.
I have one L in my name. My father would joke, why use two when one would work? So Hilary Blair
That's
there.
right.
And we
Yeah.
have an articulate page.
Okay.
And so and then we love doing trainings. We love coaching people. I love speaking engagements, and mostly because I can reach more people,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
and I'm an actor, so there's that element. For me, I a long time ago left pursuing acting because I was more excited about helping people be better themselves on the platform than me. And I had grown up with a fabulous teacher. She's a wonderful teacher. And she'd always said, "Oh, I could have made it if." And I promised myself I wouldn't be that teacher because it always felt like we were second rate.
Hmm.
And I said, I'm going to be a teacher who's teaching because I really want to teach. And so I pursued acting until I was sitting there and realized I am more interested in you rocking your situation than me being up in front.
That's awesome.
And so that's where I am. I really care about people's voices being heard, and I really care about how do we as a human collection of beings, how do we connect better? How do we stay in conversation? How do we learn from each other
Yeah.
and rock our awkward?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Hillary, it's been a pleasure having you here. We want to keep doing stuff with you
Great.
and
Yes.
learn from you and also help where we can. But thanks for
Cool.
being LeaderPass Podcast to do. All right. Up high. Up high.
All right. Great.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you.